And we are live.
We are live.
Wrestling After Show. It is August 2nd, 2024. I'm Jonny Fairplay.
I'm Heath Haynes.
We're talking wrestling.
Once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did our SummerSlam predictions last week. We'll revisit a couple of those.
We were ahead of the curve.
Yeah. I was like, oh, where am I at this Saturday that involves me watching SummerSlam? I'm like, oh, no, that's right. I'm at GalaxyCon. Hanging out with my new BFF. You want to see?
Well, let's get a little GalaxyCon recap.
Sure.
Well, here we go at the top of the show.
So this has been a first for me meeting this gentleman. I use the term loosely, of course. Share screen, and got it. Don't need the tips. And here we go. So GalaxyCon star-studded. I met, re-met William Shatner, signed a couple vinyl records for me. Boom, this guy. Were you sharing? Yeah.
Hey, that guy.
MJF.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
So he's a big fan of Roddy Piper. He considers that his greatest influence. Never met him, and so I shared a few Roddy Piper stories. For those of you that don't know, I was Roddy Piper's assistant for a little over a year.
Yeah.
So MJF was like, "Holy smolies!"
That's cool. Yeah, we haven't even talked. So I mean, did he like kayfabe the whole time, or was he?
Well, he started. I come there just like, "Hey, Johnny." He's like, "I know who you are," and and then he was like real nice afterwards.
That's cool.
And I was like, "Hey, can we get a pic?" He's like, "Oh yeah," and then he's just right back into kayfabe.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I think if there's a camera around, the guy knows. He's just like, let's.
I appreciate that.
I do too.
And this era of social media, I've said for years that wrestlers on social media, it's part of the presentation. And they should treat it as such.
Yeah.
And because it's a great tool. Obviously.
If used correct. I mean, I think more times than not, Logan Paul has done very well with that. Present week excluded.
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much this week. Well, I don't know. It's a heel move.
I mean, for a guy that gets paid to be a dick,
yeah,
that was a pretty dick move. But it's.
And there wasn't an apology afterwards.
There was an apology, but it's kind of like, it's like, oh, so you can just say whatever you want to say, and it's like, oh, LOL, my bad. I guess there was some bad information.
I think he did a whoopsies.
Yeah. So
you don't get a lot of whoopsies these days.
Obviously, I mean, he showed his cards. How he truly feels about that particular issue, and did not do himself any favors in the process.
Well, I think for those wondering, are they going to try to babyface Logan Paul in his hometown?
No.
I think they're going a different direction.
That opportunity is squandered at this point.
Or I don't know. How does Cleveland vote?
Yeah, it's in Ohio, which is a red state, but it's a major metropolitan area, which they sort of tend to run blue. So
and you got to think this is one of the big four, possibly the big two.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are from there's a lot of people in Cleveland that are not going to be at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Just because the tickets. Well, I mean,
and a lot of people at SummerSlam also not from Cleveland. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, we'll see what the crowd reaction is to him. I mean, if he's smart and truly has an aptitude for the business that it seems like he has, I think he should probably just kind of lean into it. Maybe not necessarily the spirit of his tweet, but just lean into the heat.
Yeah.
Lean into the heat, and might cause for some interesting reactions.
And that match could use a little bit of heat. I mean, we've been speculating this match is going to happen for.
I thought it was going to be on WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, but this was thinking that even WrestleMania, that, it was just like, couldn't they have done this, 4 months earlier than even that?
Yeah.
So I think that impromptu Blood Money 18 or whatever match with Roman Reigns, that gave us a little separation there from where I think we all see, or even the LA Knight Blood Money 26. I think that gave us a separation between the two.
Yeah, it's been a feud that's been a long time coming, mainly for me, and because I dig LA Knight. I think he really needs that U.S. title to get to that next level. That seems like the sentiment amongst a lot of folks, and he just needs some kind of title. That's the title that's available on his roster, so it just kind of made sense for him to go for it. And I think you got two guys that can really talk, and I know you don't think too much of LA Knight as a worker. I enjoy his work.
I don't dislike the guy. I just
don't see what all the fuss is about.
I would rather have a Joe Hendry than an LA Knight.
Okay.
So, did you see Joe Hendry's new deal?
The concert on NXT?
No, he has a contract.
Well, I knew
that is unlike any other contract in all of professional wrestling.
He can work out at the Performance Center.
Yes.
That's what I read.
TNA Wrestling has worked it out where with WB, where Joe Hendry can appear on TNA Wrestling as a contracted wrestler. He can appear on NXT. He can train at the Performance Center full time and do indies and do signings. This has never happened before.
That's a wild deal. That is, yeah.
It's almost like he's an independent contractor or something.
It's like he's in the that technically that's the deal that everybody should have, because I mean,
as long as you have a working relationship with another company. Bryan Danielson can't go back and forth to WWE and AEW. But he should be able to go to New Japan whenever he wants, and
sure.
Everything's fine there. So
that we had some other things we wanted to talk about on this podcast, but I mean that's the independent contractor status for professional wrestlers, the performers. I mean, we could talk that could be a whole episode there.
I mean, an unprecedented decision in UFC, which could potentially directly affect WWF or WWE and AEW in wrestling as we know it. So the UFC Fighters Association, they filed a lawsuit against UFC proper because based on UFC buying up all the competition, it became an antitrust, and so they sued. And the UFC offered a settlement of $335 million to all of the fighters, and they said yes. So they agreed to a deal.
Mm-hmm.
The judge says no.
It has
even though you guys said yes and you guys said yes, this isn't fair. They deserve more, and I'm not going to allow.
And it's going to trial.
Well,
they
could make, because UFC previously stated this is our final offer.
Right.
We're not going to do $1 more.
Uh-huh.
Well, they could potentially do $1 more. So, but think about the MMA fighters that because a lot of that, like some of your bigger names, when the settlement would have been done, they're looking at like a $2 million bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this doesn't really change their lives too much. Like some of them, yes, some of them, blown all the money they had, $2 million, like woo, it's Cocaine Wednesday, let's go. So, but a lot of those is just like, okay, well, there's another $2 million, we're good. But a lot of these, that $100,000. They're working real jobs right now. They have mortgages. They have credit card bills. That $100,000 directly changes their life immediately. And they can string this thing out forever now. UFC can. So the judge not necessarily doing favors here. So, but this is something that, decisions like that. And, and you look at the, WWE is owned by UFC.
Well, yeah, definitely under that same corporate umbrella. So yeah, there could be an impact. I've often wondered why more specifically WWE talent are not in Actors Equity or SAG-AFTRA or one of those.
Well, you think
organizations.
Mercedes Moné could have started that, because I don't know if you heard, she was in
She was in The Mandalorian.
yeah.
Yeah.
She
blink and you miss her. Like, yeah.
Well, no, she mentioned it.
Yeah. Oh wow.
She's she filed. Did you see divorce papers filed?
Yeah, but they've been separated for years apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah,
Is she your type?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah. I like talent.
Oh, I'm a big Mercedes.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big Sasha Banks fan.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
never was. I never got it. Every time I tried to watch a Sasha Banks match, when she was over a few years ago, I was watching through my fingers, because like it's just like invariably every minute or two there was going to be some cringe-inducing, awful-looking bump that she was going to take, and I just
have you seen her new finisher?
No fun. No.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
so, and like she's only been feuding with larger opponents.
Yeah,
and so it's extra worse. Like it would be okay if she was going against Rio every week, but she's not. She's going to like Willow Nightingale.
Yeah, she's great.
So but her finisher is like a fireman's carry thing into it, but it's like not. It does not
bells and whistles and like you
as I said, that move against Rio. Possibly, but against Willow Nightingale, you're like, oh my god, they're both gonna die.
She does look like she's in probably the best shape she's been in like ever, because that was another thing. I always thought she was a little on the slight side, but she really, and she's still she's not huge, but like she appears very well defined, very lean, and definitely in shape, and and her hair game is always on point. But like
hair game's killing it right now, other than the CEO that no one's chanting but herself.
Let's parlay into a different topic, perhaps our classic match of the week.
Yeah, so last week we were supposed to have Jen Maraska on. We are going to have her on in the future, so we apologize for the scheduling mix-up. But she is coming, and we will talk that classic match of the week when we get to it. But this week's classic match of the week, if you saw the thumbnail, talking about what we're going to talk about today, and it's potential of Bloodline Gold going into, whether it be tonight or tomorrow. I don't even know if we have confirmation yet on a SmackDown line.
Oh, that's happening. That's
tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have we're gonna do a full SmackDown preview here in a little bit, but we're going to have 2 tag team title matches tonight, both the women and the men.
Okay,
tonight live on SmackDown.
So, in preparation for that, both of us being tag team connoisseurs, and going back to the glory days of tag team wrestling, not the glory holes of professional wrestling. That's totally different podcast.
Those, though.
So, who's to say? But yeah, I loved Crockett tag team wrestling back in the day. I loved WWF tag team wrestling. I mean, you look at the glory days there, the Rockers and the Orient Express, and but like I always thought the Killer Bees were good. I didn't dislike them.
Yeah,
Mass Confusion.
Santana and what were they?
Strike Force.
Yeah, Strike Force.
K&M Connection,
and of course the Hart Foundation and the Bulldogs.
Yeah. The Dream Team of
Valentine
and BK.
And those guys are still buddies. But what we're going to be talking about today is delving into the sort of the tag team heritage of the Samoans. We're going to look at a match from 1989 featuring the Samoan SWAT team, managed by Paulie Dangerously, later to be known today as Paul Heyman, versus the Midnight Express, the 89 version. So this is Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton, of course, managed by the inimitable James E. Cornette. Now, some of our newer fans out there might not realize, I mean, the history involved in the Bloodline saga is really part of what makes it so compelling to see on TV unfold every week. And the fact that so the Samoan SWAT team, Fatu and
Samu and Fatu.
Fatu, some of you may better know him as
Rikishi.
Rikishi, the father of the Usos and Solo Sikoa. And this is all the way back in '89, managed by who would become the Wise Man. Yeah. So it's just like that resonates so strong. I mean, you want to talk about long-term storytelling,
right?
And work, shoot, or whatever, because because legitimately, Paul Heyman's life and the Samoan family, they have been intertwined for decades.
Yeah, I mean, like this is '89. I mean, that's
yeah, and probably going all the way back to when Heyman was a photographer. In New York, and meeting him backstage.
He knew Offensica back then and all. So
as far as like on screen, like here's our buddy Heyman, which. A lot of people might not get the Paulie Dangerous thing. The Paulie Dangerously moniker came from because he sort of had a passing resemblance to Michael Keaton.
Yeah, so Johnny Dangerously.
Michael Keaton had a movie in the 80s called Johnny Dangerously.
And I got Jonny Fairplay as an homage to Johnny Dangerously, just the name.
There it is. Yeah. So many layers, ladies and gentlemen. This is why wrestling is the best form of storytelling going today. But let's talk about this match.
Yeah, a little bit. Special, I guess, outside the ring enforcer, the junkyard dog, not the long arm, the law, the long paw of the.
Ross had something on commentary. I missed it.
Yeah,
but you have
a very monotone Jim Ross, and it's funny because if you're watching the match. It's Lance Russell on commentary there.
That's what I was picking up on that. I was like, it sounds like this is post-production commentary.
This is post-production. Jim Ross not wanting to be there doing a Sunday, the main event TBS show.
Emanating from the Omni, I believe.
Yep, they're in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, Georgia, which was the home of Crockett Promotions in Atlanta for many years. And as you mentioned, the WTBS Sunday night show, Sunday night main event.
Used to come on right after Captain Planet or right before Captain Planet. I can't. It was one of them. Either way, that was not a good cartoon.
I had no time for Captain Planet, so I was.
You were too busy destroying the Earth.
Yeah, I was. No, I would know, dude. I'll have you know, I was ahead of the curve on all things environmental and high school. Oh yeah.
I remember the first Earth Day that I was ever aware of. Growing up in Danville, I don't know how close we were to when it really came out. But I remember it was I was in high school at some point. I don't 10th, 11th, 12th grade, 91, 92, 89, 99, or 90, 91, 92. One of those three.
All right.
And I got a brand new bike, and I just so I get on my bike and I'm making a lap around my neighborhood. I was living in Blairmont at the time. I'm doing a lap around my neighborhood. I go, "Happy Earth Day, everybody! Hey, plant a tree! Happy Earth Day!" Just spreading the virtues of Earth Day. And I got to the bottom of this hill, and there was gravel there, and I slid out. I just scraped my arm, my leg. I mean, just blood poured down. I'm like, I hate Earth Day. So I'm pushing my bike back.
Immediately set fire to like some styrofoam containers, just like
I was just dropping off rusted paint cans on people's driveway, just so car batteries, just placing them like a Johnny Appleseed.
Amongst other things that happened in 1989, apparently, in addition to this match.
Yeah.
So let's go. Have you? Do you have the full match breakdown for us, or are we just gonna kind of?
I just watched. I just said it it started as a very monotone Jim Ross. He got in.
He did get in, yeah.
Jim, I think, is a lot like us. It's just like, oh man, I mean, I don't want to be here, but gosh darn it, this is all right. So I hate a babyface Midnight Express.
Well, and we were talking about this. So what you have right here, this is a real weird time for Jim Crockett Promotions. Not actually even Jim Crockett Promotions anymore. By this point, they had at this point in 1989, it had already been sold to Turner, to Ted Turner, under his TBS umbrella, and it become their property. Dusty Rhodes was out as Booker at this point. George Scott was
he out because of the angle with the Road Warriors?
Yes. So the genesis of this match. So, it was actually Cornette's idea. He wanted to bring in the original Midnight Express, who Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously, had been managing in Vern Gagne's AWA at this point. And he wanted to bring them into Crockett to have a feud because they needed something to do after Arn and Tully pissed off to New York.
Yeah.
So okay, let's bring in the original Midnight Express, and
and Beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan, they're baby faces because of this feud with Arn and Tully, and Arn and Tully doing the honors on the way out the door.
They had not
turned.
They had not fully turned.
But they were baby faced by proxy.
The crowd was getting behind them. Yeah. The crowd was getting behind them.
Everybody wants a title change. We may get 18 of them on Saturday.
This angle with the original Midnight Express and Cornette's Midnight Express, that was the big turn. That's where they turned babyface. But they had a super violent angle on TV, on TV Turner Television, where Heyman cracked Cornette over the head with his trademark portable phone,
cordless phone.
Yes.
that was not really portable.
Yeah,
yeah. I think he does work his way up to the brick.
He does.
Yes, but at this time, he's literally using the same cordless phone that I'm using.
He just took it off his wall.
Yeah.
Yes. That'll work. Nobody knows.
Nobody.
These hayseeds, these rednecks never seen a real cellular
they're
telephone.
Simple folk, I hear.
They are. So in that angle, Cornette gets color. He gets a lot of color. It's very bloody. And the word comes down from the Turner execs, hey, we don't want to see any more blood on our TV station. Jump to like the next week.
Yeah.
They have the angle where Dusty as a booker, is going to try to turn the Road Warriors heel by attacking him. And what they do, they detach a giant steel spike from one of their from the shoulder pads, and they jam it into Dusty Rhodes' eye live on TV. Yeah. Blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Blood, I mean,
twice as much as the week before, which was already too much.
Gruesome.
Yeah.
And that's when he got let go as Booker. So Dusty had given the go-ahead for this Midnight Express versus Midnight Express program to happen. When he leaves, the sort of Jim Crockett actually comes in as interim booker, and his first thing is, I don't like Randy Rose, who is one half of the original Midnight Express. So they have a loser leave town tag team match on the books, and the writing is on the wall that Randy Rose is out of there. Well, upon hearing this, Dennis Condrey actually no-showed the loser leave town match.
Wow.
He's just like, forget it. So Randy Rose teamed up with, I don't know. We'll have to, it's somewhere down in here. Teams up with like Jack Victory, I think.
Wow. Jacko Victory.
Yeah. And they lose. And so Randy Rose is out of there. So the Arn and Tully program
would never really get some full
never.
They just dropped it. It wasn't even was it like a non-TV in Philadelphia or something?
It was just they walked in and they're like, we're out of here. They dropped the belts.
Yeah.
In Philly, as a matter of fact. So that doesn't have any kind of payoff. This Midnight versus Midnight angle or program doesn't have
DOA.
doesn't have a payoff. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, now what? So Heyman's still around, Cornette's still around with his Midnight Express. They are full on babyface now. So let's get in Heyman's new guys, the Samoan SWAT team. And so this is the continuation.
And I'm sure they're all living in Philadelphia at this time.
Could be.
Yeah,
Could be.
Because the Samoan they've had ties there forever, and Heyman with ECW. Of course.
Maybe he just made a couple calls
Yeah.
and brought in Samoan SWAT team. But this match is for its time super hard hitting.
Oh yeah. So the Samoan SWAT team comes in and they're just like, yeah, we're just not. We're gonna kind of road warrior this. We're gonna stiff you and not really sell. And so they had a lot of matches, and that's sort of the hallmark of a lot of these matches is super stiff work on the part of the Samoan SWAT team. Not a lot of selling. So I was actually taken by surprise in this TV match that we watched, where they got selling is probably too strong of a word, but the Midnight Express, specifically Bobby Eaton, gets in a lot more offense. There's a ton of offense that is partially sold.
Yeah, but I think the eventually the Samoan SWAT team gets a little frustrated at all this offense they're getting. The Midnight Express are getting. They go out of the ring and then just sort of pummel each other for about a 30-second exchange.
Yes. So, and having Junkyard Dog be handcuffed to Heyman
both managers
and Cornette, no real payoff other than when they first go to do the handcuffs. Cornette goes, Heyman, I don't know what you're complaining about. I heard you like holding men's hands.
Yeah, which obviously at different times,
very 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 different
times.
So, and that's on brand for Cornette to say it at that time.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, they would lean in to the general homophobia of Southern audiences. In the time on the other side when they were heels, they would always lean into like, he would shake Dennis or Stan's hand, but then him and Bobby had to hug.
Oh yeah,
him and Bobby had to hug, and with a lot of boos, and a lot of hurling of slurs,
and all whether it be Paul Heyman or Paulie Dangerously or Jim Cornette or they always had like a tuxedo match, and they always had panties. They didn't have tidy whities. It was always some.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because
that's my go-to move.
This program doesn't really have a finish, So and eventually because I can't remember what the timeline is, but eventually they have the eventual culmination of all of this that started with the original Midnight versus the current Midnight is Cornette and Paulie have a tuxedo match. Yeah. I think at like Bash 89 and
or Fall Brawl, one of those.
Yeah. And that was the final blow off because they were doing things like on the house show circuit at this time they would have like the Samoan SWAT team versus Midnight Express on the house show, but they were trying to save money, so they wouldn't send the managers. Yeah. And it's kind of like half about the managers, this whole thing. So just stuff and more short. I mean, plenty of books have been written about all the short-sighted booking decisions of this era of what would become World Championship Wrestling, WCW.
Yeah.
But
they were so prior to this house show loop, like the two seasons prior, they were doing it was Midnight Rock and Roll. They were doing the circuit, and that was actually one of the early times that I realized that professional wrestling was potentially not on the up and up.
So, not a bona fide athletic competition.
I'm still not positive, but here was my first hint. So I had gone to I want to say Roanoke, Virginia, and seen Midnight versus Rock and Roll, and then like on a Friday. On Sunday, they were at Dorton Arena in Raleigh, and I had convinced my mom. Like I think it was like my birthday or something, so I got tickets for both.
Wow.
And it was literally the same match from start to finish, like same finish, the entire up one side, down the other. I'm like, wait a second. So, but
what are the chances?
You would think he would learn.
Both teams are so well prepared, so familiar with each other. They literally
so, and I think that the finish was it was great. It was if the Rock and Roll won the match, they got 5 minutes. 5 minutes with Jim Cornette, and the gimmick would be the Rock and Roll would win the match, and immediately after match they would beat the crap out of the Rock and Roll Express, and so the Rock and Roll Express are down for 4 minutes and 40 seconds with Jim Cornette prancing around, and they're all proud of themselves, and then with like 15 seconds left, they get up, boom, boom. Shit can the Midnight, and then they get Cornette for like one move, and and he bumps out of the ring.
Oh well, got to come back next time,
or just go to the next town and do the same thing again.
maybe that dastardly Jim Cornette will finally get his comeuppance. One of these days.
So the match was good. Like so the finish saw Bobby Eaton going. Well, first I think he went for like a Thez press that just was. Neither guy were ready for whatever they were planning on doing going into the finish, and then finally, like Bobby just goes up to the top rope to throw a drop kick, and I'm just like, okay, this is different, you have the Vegematic, you have the rocket launcher, the plethora of tag team finishing maneuvers that the Midnight brought to the table. And the finish in
Flapjack.
The finish in Bobby's mind is, I'm just going to do a missile drop kick by myself, miss, and then a flying headbutt off the top, call it a day. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
And not know how to find the hard cam.
Yeah, I would. That's that's a level above maybe what they were used to at that time as far as TV production.
And Jim Ross furious the entire match. They're not grapevining a leg. It's like another 2 count by the Samoan SWAT team. Well, you got to expect it when you don't grapevine the leg.
You got to hook the leg, man. You got to hook the leg. So if you're interested in catching that match, we're gonna have the link. It's
there. It's in the description right now.
So check it out. But so speaking of the. Like we said, the heritage of tag team wrestling and the Samoan dynasty, the Bloodline, as we know it today. That brings us right up to here and now tonight on Friday Night Smackdown. We're going to see possibly not the tag team combination a lot of us thought we may see possibly win some tag team titles, but it's the tag team combination we have, and dare I say, it's the one that's probably gonna put on a better showing in the ring, and that is the combination
And we are back.
That was wild.
First time ever. Wow.
Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
That's okay. We recovered through it. I just want to make sure our audio is correct. Boom. All right. So tonight.
Tonight we're going to see Jacob Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf, and Tama Tonga take on Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, otherwise known as DIY, for the World Wrestling Entertainment Tag Team Championships. That's happening tonight. And so first off, maybe not the tag team you would think of, because you would think it would be the two brothers, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa.
Yes.
I have some thoughts on why that is not what we're going to see tonight. But
I want to hear it because I feel there is something so incredibly special with Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
That I feel, and it pains me to say this because I love tag team wrestling so much. I mean, like, we literally, my choice to go watch a match was to watch some, old, semi-Crockett, Samoan SWAT team, Midnight Express, because I just have that love for it. So I feel like even the tag team championships is below Jacob Fatu.
I get that. And I would tend to agree. I think there's a little bit of maybe buyer's remorse is too strong of a phrase, but I think maybe upon getting a closer look at Tonga Loa in the ring, I think maybe the higher ups at WWE were like, maybe have him just sort of like kind of be a manager type of guy, and let's give Jacob Fatu the ball, let him run with it.
Weren't the other two tag team champions of New Japan?
They were tag team champions in New Japan. Yeah, but apparently he
forgot how to wrestle.
Botched a lot in New Japan.
Oh, he botched there too.
Yeah, he botched. I think there's a reel going around right now where it's basically like a supercut of Tonga.
Well, it doesn't stop with LA Knight.
So
guaranteed won a match, sometimes two.
So they write Tonga Loa off in that angle from a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Kevin Owens on camera very prominently digs the eye, and the next week Tonga Loa shows up, eye patch, not cleared for competition. And so now we have Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga were inserted into the gauntlet match to determine the new number one contender, which they won last week on SmackDown. And so tonight that results in a tag team title shot for them. I get what you're saying about Jacob Fatu in this day and age where I feel
like he's gonna take Solo's spot.
Well, the word that gets tossed around a lot nowadays currently is aura, and Jacob Fatu oozes the aura. I mean, he's got whatever it is, he's got it, and he does. He has it more than Solo Sikoa, but I think that actually adds. I was thinking about this earlier today, because you look at Solo Sikoa and it's kind of like, man, he's not quite there. That's the point. He's the pretender to the throne. He is the pretend tribal chief, so he's not supposed to have it all. Meanwhile, here's this guy, this fully formed, and he's been around
werewolf.
Fully formed guy, and we tend to forget that Solo Sikoa is only this is like year 3.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of green there.
I don't think we really saw a whole lot in NXT.
No, he was in, cup of coffee in NXT, and then
so it's not like, he's sitting there like Finn Balor was there or Samoa Joe was there for like 2 years. It's like they know how to find the hard cam. They've each had the belt 8 times.
Yeah. So
Solo was there to figure out if he was going to wear tights or trunks.
So you got Jacob Fatu, who I admit I get your point. It does seem like one half of a tag team, he should be very much but. This is going back to something I've been saying about the Bloodline for a while now. They need some hardware. They need some gold. For me, that was, as far as a presentation aspect, that OG Bloodline, they looked really good with all those belts.
Just like the Horsemen.
Going back
just like the Pinnacle. And Pinnacle was probably the best faction they had in AEW because they had straps.
Or going back to Heyman, the first, not the first family. What was it? What was his? What was the Heyman group? The Dangerous Alliance.
Yes.
Yeah, they had all those belts in WCW.
You had old Larry and old Arn with the tag strap.
You had Austin with my favorite belt of all time, the black strap NWA World TV title. Yeah. Which apparently he still has it in his gun safe at home. Beside the point,
he doesn't use it as a tray for his cat food.
So factions look great when they have got all the titles, and I think that
the accessories.
Yeah, well, it just looks good on TV. It's nice and shiny. Yeah. So why not start with a set of tag belts? And may not be the tag team specialists that we thought maybe, or the WWE thought that they were getting with Tongaloa and Tama Tonga. But, we got to start somewhere, and we might as well get some belts on them. So I'm predicting a win, and also probably a real fun match to watch tonight on Smackdown.
Yeah. No, I think the Bloodline needs to win. I think it helps it accentuates the aura that you mentioned earlier. Yeah. So, but let's not slap around DIY.
No, and obviously, their rise over the past few months. They, and that you want to talk about NXT. They were NXT stalwarts as a team and as a rivalry.
I prefer the rivalry. Well, I don't know. Like their matches with the Revival was
pretty special. Yeah.
But still, their rivalry was on like especially the one where you thought the show was over. They did the credits and everything, and it was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, I think the one that culminated with Gargano taking Ciampa's leg brace off and like cross facing him with it. That's pretty cool to see, and a great memory and a great picture. So as many of
so what do you want? Like you want 10 minutes?
Oh no, this is going to be main event. This better be like a 20-minute, kind of affair.
But does the Bloodline need? It's not like we've had DIY show. They're the tag team champions, but it's not like, I don't know. I think the best we could hope for is 12 minutes.
I want to see a 20-minute. I just want to see a classic 20-minute tag team match. Both teams come out. Babyface team shines in the beginning, gets a lot of good offense. They get cut off. Long set of heat on both of them. Get a hot tag in the middle, and then long heat on Gargano, long heat on Ciampa, one way or the other. Get a hot tag. A nice big hope spot, nice big comeback,
and then Jacob Fatu kills them.
And then they just kill them and pin them clean. 1, 2, 3, and you have your new champions. That's what I'd like to see in the main event slot tonight for Friday Night SmackDown. What were you? Because I would like to see a nice dominant in-ring display. I loved that gauntlet match last week, and I thought the Bloodline looked great as a tag team in that match. And I want to see more of that.
Yeah. So no, I think the best we can hope for is 12 minutes, which is more than okay. I would love 20 minutes. I don't think we're gonna get it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that is only one of the tag team championship matches that we're going to see tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. The other one is going to involve the champions, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, defending against the former champions, the pairing of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Fairplay, your thoughts on this match?
Once again, how many new tag team champions are we going to have in the next 2 days?
I think we might get both of them tonight.
Oh my God, stop! And then 4 more tomorrow.
It's let's just. Sometimes you just have to shuffle the deck. You know,
That's a little more than shuffling the deck. That's literally taking the cards, cutting them in half, and throwing them in the trash, and buying a new box.
It's like 52 pickup.
New box of cards. So it's just like, hey, I got these Go Fish cards. It's like, yeah, I got naked lady cards. Oh, I like naked lady cards.
New deck. So let's talk about this match, and then talk about the potential for.
I'm saying not new women's tag team champions.
Not new women's tag team champions.
We've got to draw the line somewhere. I do not need 6 new champions by midnight tomorrow.
I'm gonna agree. I think the current champions are gonna retain the belts tonight, and I think we're gonna start to see maybe a little bit of dissension.
Yeah,
obviously. I mean, because Bianca and Jade. They just kind of had that, and
I don't need to hear, girlfriend, what did you do this week? I don't know. Well, y'all ain't got phones? Hey, Heath, what did you do this week? Because I texted you.
Yeah. Presentation aside, and we can get to that, they've had that vibe of the classic wrestling trope of a tag team that gets put together just to eventually get broken up.
Yes.
And it makes a lot of sense. At this point, Bianca is, a ring vet, especially compared to Jade.
Sure.
And it's worked to both of their. Well, maybe not so much to Bianca's benefit, but it's definitely worked to Jade's benefit in her presentation.
Their presentation is that they are the best. That they're 2 of the best athletes in all of WB, and not just women.
Yeah.
So that part of the presentation, pretty darn good.
So I'm thinking it's about time to start getting that dissension in there. Yeah. Start to,
So Bianca loses because Jade wasn't where she was supposed to be.
I think,
or Jade loses because she's.
Think out of the
what either way, Jade's mad at Bianca.
Yes, because I think out of those 2. Jade is the more natural heel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
she turns. So she's mad. So, but either way, it works. Either Jade wasn't there, and it's just like, well, you can do something too.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been doing everything.
Yeah.
So, or Jade, so they get Jade, and it's just like, you couldn't be there for me because I've done everything up until the end of the match. Yeah. Either way, it's Jade's arrogance, and it's a wrong arrogance.
I think you're correct. I think that's how it's going to go. And it's funny because we haven't talked about it on the podcast, but I've always likened the pairing of Bianca and Jade to going back to 80s Jim Crockett Promotions, the pairing of Barry Windham and Lex Luger as a tag team.
Oh, God, the best.
And eventually they had a split.
Of course.
But Barry was the one that turned heel. But I think but Barry is the one that's like sort of, Bianca is in the Barry role, I think, in this tag team. But I think she's gonna eventually be the baby face. And Jade will do the turning. And I mean, just like, probably not since Roman Reigns has somebody, at least to me, just come across on television so naturally as a heel. And it's like they're just in this like and they just don't work as a babyface. And that, to me, that's Jade Cargill.
Yeah. I think she's like, I mean, like, whenever we figured this out, however many weeks ago, prior to the podcast, like, Jade Cargill is early 4 horsemen Lex Luger.
Yeah.
So
all the potential in the world, looks amazing. Like, just standing still is like, whoa.
Yeah. Like, that's the champ, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the world champ. And
then once they get in the ring,
and then the bell rings.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
And then
Lex Luger put together fine matches.
He honestly, he really did. I was as a kid, I was transfixed by Lex Luger versus Nikita Koloff, Great American Bash 1987 in the Greensboro Coliseum steel cage match for the United States Championship. To me, that was the realest thing I'd ever seen. And it was basically just Luger working on Nikita's neck the whole time. Because remember, that was after when Nikita had the bad neck, that whole that spring and the end of the summer. And
that neck brace was the only thing that can make Nikita look less big. And I'm just like, oh my God, you idiot.
So Nikita, Lex Luger can put on a good match, and I'm pretty confident that.
I said fine. I did not say good.
Fine match.
Thank you.
I think Jade Cargill will eventually be able to put on a fine singles match.
Sure.
Especially when she's got a dance partner as skilled as Bianca Belair.
And like they're talking, and so like everything right now, like the fact that they're not becoming the greatest tag team of all time, I'm okay with, as long as she's learning what she needs. Pronouns, pal. As long as Jade's learning what she needs to for when she does turn heel coming out. It's just like when the heels are working over the baby faces in the tag match, like if Bianca's like, now remember this. This is where, like, when you're doing your heat, this is what you do, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
I just want them to also not do tag matches anymore because Jade never remembers to hold the tag rope.
And you don't hold that tag rope, you're dead to me. So, as Sheamus and Cesaro.
Indeed.
We gave Portland, Oregon a 30-minute lesson on holding the tag rope. That the New Day will never forget.
It's kind of important. Kind of important.
Yes.
So we're also going back to something we were talking about earlier in today's proceedings. On schedule for tonight is the Logan Paul Homecoming segment in Cleveland, which I'm sure will be crashed or otherwise disturbed by the megastar LA Knight. But that
is that self-appointed, that megastar thing you just said?
Well, I mean, I didn't just start calling him that from out of nowhere. I mean,
is that his thing?
Well, I mean, you got to have a gimmick, you got to have a nickname.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just saying.
Did you just start calling yourself Jonny Fairplay?
Kind of.
Okay, well, there you go. Maybe he just started calling himself the megastar.
Maybe, I don't know. All right.
So 24 hours ago, this would have just been a stock sort of thing, but considering
I can see them having fun with it.
The social media kerfuffle that Logan Paul has found himself in, like we said earlier, lean in, lean back,
as Fat Joe would say, or whoever sings that song.
Cha-cha slide.
Is
that also tonight?
Same song. It's performed by the Megastar.
The Megastar. Megastore?
Sure.
Megastar, that's the thing too.
Megasaurus.
Undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes wants a face-to-face confrontation with his challenger tomorrow night at SummerSlam. Solo Sikoa.
Are they going to kiss?
Are they going to be in that back, wherever that back room is?
With the special lighting?
Yeah, that they've been emanating from. Yeah. Which just like kind of off the subject, but one thing that we've always talked about,
mood lighting.
Yeah, well, for sure. One thing that you and I both like about Chelsea Green, is the whole time she's on camera, she's working.
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu, same thing. Watch Jacob Fatu and these backstage little vignettes they've been doing.
Wasn't he howling?
It's just Jacob Fatu is just like standing back there, just like holding the chili pepper necklace, that has very a lot of significance, and it's he's just oozing the entire time. And then in that tag match last week, just out of nowhere, Solo Sikoa's ringside. Jacob Fatu's, in the corner holding the rope.
Yep.
And he just goes, "I love you. I love you." Solo Sikoa's like, "Okay, dude." But that kind of shit, I love that. So perhaps they will have a darkened mood lighting sort of vignette. Maybe that's where they'll meet, or maybe they'll meet right in the middle of the ring. Who knows?
Who's to say?
Who's to say? Nia Jax is trying to set herself up to win the WWE Women's Championship against Bayley.
I think that's happening.
And
you know what? Okay.
So we're going to talk about title changes.
Okay. Yeah. All right,
Here we go.
I think Bayley's as stale as it gets right now.
Yeah.
New music, stupid haircut, everything.
Yeah.
amazing butt.
Not great, but not great work in the ring, which is
But the butt's amazing.
Yeah, the butt is amazing,
Okay.
but that's wild when you're talking about
one of the greatest ever.
And you're talking about Nia Jax, who I mean that. The best.
I wasn't saying Nia Jax was the greatest ever.
I know the best moment in this build for me was actually, and the most interesting that Bayley's been was a couple weeks ago when they had their dual screen, split screen.
I like that, other than the calling her out for being sloppy. In the ring.
I love. That's what I love.
Oh, I hated it.
That's what I love because it was like, holy shit, that's real.
We haven't talked. I mean, because she hasn't been clumsy since she came back.
Yes, she's gotten a lot better.
And that and like inferring clumsy is like, it's not saying like, it's not calling her reckless. Like Jacob Fatu is just like, oh my god, like
out, like menacing, like out to like intentionally trying to hurt people.
Where like they're saying she's not a good wrestler.
Yeah,
saying she's clumsy. I don't like that.
I did, and I thought it showed a lot of fire from Bayley, but it also contrasts with like what you said though, because that is not the Nia Jax that we have been seeing on this run, and she's made a believer out of me. I mean, I still, if you really wanted to pick it apart, you can still see where like there's still some problems, but I think she's working a lot safer. And I think her work looks intentional and crisp. Maybe not there yet, but she doesn't need to be. She's she's the monster. She doesn't need to have crisp work. But she looks like she knows what she's doing. She looks more comfortable in the ring than she has ever. And I love the pairing of her and Tiffany. Yeah, that just works.
So instead of predicting 18 title changes this week, I feel we need to walk some back. And as I said, Bayley could not be any less stale than she is right now. And that belt is not helping her. However, can Tiffany accidentally cost Nia the match?
But then they're going to
and we just get the rematch of the next pay-per-view.
I don't know where you go there. I don't know where you go. I think the cleaner thing would just be
is Nia wins.
Just not
I'm with you. I'm with you. But I just can't endorse. What are we potentially looking at? 5
Intercontinental.
Yeah.
U.S. World.
Yeah.
And possibly WWE Women's.
Yeah.
I think Liv retains and Cody retains.
Yeah.
So 4 plus 5 if the Bloodline wins tonight. 5 title changes in 24 hours.
I don't like it.
Am
I okay?
It's fucking wild to think that we're on the precipice of that maybe happening, and that's maybe what we're supposed to be.
And the betting odds.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a very interesting 2 nights of wrestling for sure. So out of those, so let's say those 5, what do you want? You walk back the Nia title change?
I think so.
You walk that one back?
Well, I don't want. I mean, like as I said, as you said, it's cleaner. Nia needs it. Bayley needs to do something else. Like her with the belt. It's just flat. I mean, I don't know. Like, but I cannot co-sign 4 title changes.
5
in 24 hours. I cannot co-sign that.
I'm here for it, man. I'll bring it, but it's like it does. There is a level of like, well, now what do you do?
Yeah, thanks Russo. What?
It's a lot. It's kind of hot shoddy.
Yeah.
In an era that definitely does not need hot shotting.
No,
it's a little hot shotting.
And everything is so slow, like methodically slow, just like a Triple H match, which I like. I like long-term storytelling. So no, I did a Russo had me. I did his show a few years ago, and we were talking. He had never seen Nakamura. It was when he had just come over to the States for NXT, And he was just like, I don't know. I don't like those high flying Japanese. I'm like, well, he works a little more like Undertaker than.
Yeah, he's not high flying.
If you had, he was like, oh, I didn't know that. He goes, I would probably like him. And he goes, Fairplay goes, I got a story for you. I'm like, shoot. When Russo was booking, he had no at the time they didn't have the streak.
Booking WWE?
Yes, WWE.
Yeah. Or
they didn't have
WWF at the time.
Yes. They didn't have the Undertaker streak per se. It was happening, but it wasn't acknowledged.
It wasn't a conscious like when one day I think it was Fink was just like, hey, you guys realize like
this guy's
Undertaker never loses it.
Yeah.
At,
so anyway, so Russo goes, he goes, if I had known, he goes, oh, I would have killed that. I was just like, dude, that's like one of the coolest things in the history of wrestling. Oh yeah, I totally would have blown that.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, yeah, Mark Henry beats the Undertaker.
Yeah, no shit.
Like all the equity built up, and he's like, oh yeah, I would have destroyed that Fairplay. And I'm like, yep, you would have.
Yeah, Vince Russo, you would have.
You would have done it.
You dipshit.
Is that insane?
So what that might be well, let me see, what else do we have tonight? Carmelo Hayes and Andrade are having a little bit of a back and forth. They had a particularly kind of weird match the other week, kind of just flat-footed and like it's just like neither guy looked like they were not great dance partners.
They both need something. I feel like that feud would have been better after they each had a previous feud.
Right.
I would like both of them to get their sea legs underneath of them, and then it would have meant something. Whoever came out, winning. Like
I wish they. I think the
jobbers.
The ceiling on Andrade is never going to rise unless they can figure out a way to make him compelling out of the ring, because he can't fucking talk. No. Like he's a mush mouth. And it's not it's not the language barrier. Yeah. It's like so like they have to figure out something in his presentation.
Well, he talks to Charlotte somehow, so I don't know what they need.
Well, maybe when she comes back, it's like put
them together.
Yeah, put them together. Maybe that'll be the ticket.
Yeah. Because she left a face. I don't know how.
That's funny, because that comes back to another thing we were talking about. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but just like the folks that aren't there, and and Charlotte Flair has got to be one of the biggest names that's not there, and has been gone. Kind of like I can't remember the last time she was there.
It was going into Mania, so her Instagram. She's like,
she's been at the PC. Yeah. She's been working out.
Yeah, but I mean, but she's not even close. It doesn't appear.
And what was the injury?
I think like an arm or shoulder or something.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, maybe when she comes back, maybe that'll be the key to getting Andrade to that next level.
But I also feel like he's a better heel than a face. I felt he was good with Selena Vega, was the best he ever was.
Yeah.
And the best she was, too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Let me see. I think that's the big stuff for and honestly, those two championship matches.
Oh, I mean, good 12 minutes and 8 minutes.
I think I don't think the women's match is going to be very long at all.
8 minutes.
8 minutes,
including intros.
That's why I think
we just watched our classic match of the week. It was 4 minutes before they locked up.
Yeah,
18-minute match.
Well, they had a lot of business, getting everybody handcuffed.
Junkyard Dog remembering who's a baby face in real life and who isn't. Yeah. This guy owes me money. He's the baby face. I don't care.
It was great. Be sure to check out that classic match, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to be doing that moving forward. I think we're going to try to get to, as far as like some housekeeping things with the program that we're doing. We have yet to land on a consistent recording time, or
But Thursdays at 2 is our goal.
Thursdays at 2 is the goal. Goal.
Yeah.
We have hit it once. So
it's the end of summer.
What has that to do with anything?
Well, vacation.
Everybody's got stuff going on.
Vacationing.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
I took my first vacation in like 4 years.
Well, speaking of stuff going on, Fairplay, do you got anything coming up that you want to tell the people about?
Nope. Get yourself a shirt. Go to fairplayshirts.com. You
There
get
it
this
is.
shirt. Jonny Fairplay's mom has a mugshot. Does yours?
We have. Are we going to tell them? We got to tell them about Cheap Heat at some point. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to this podcast.
Yeah,
because you're going to be hearing about
some gigs.
You're going to be hearing about some gigs. You're going to be hearing about a special project that Fairplay and I have in addition to Wrestling After Show.
Yeah.
And I'll just say 2 words: Cheap Heat.
Cheap Heat, brother.
Cheap Heat.
That's 3 words. All right.
That's 3 words. You know what's 1 word? Goodbye.
See ya. I'm at Jonny Fairplay. He's Heath, Haynes, CJ. See you on all the instants and the stuff and the bye.